Hey, it's Michael J. Today I'm going to expound upon my love for Rodgers and Hart, that wonderful songwriting team that gave us so many great American song standards that have been recorded by singers throughout the decades. I mean, you've got Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered, The Lady is a Tramp, My Funny Valentine, Blue Moon, and so many others.
It seems we've stood and talked like this before. We looked at each other in the same way then, but I can't remember where or when.
My funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine, you make me smile with my heart.
You stick to your trick, and your trick will be art. Artists are hard-working men. After you're perfect, that's when you first start. Over and over again.
Believe me, sir, I much prefer the classic battle of him and her. We don't like quiet and we wish we were in love again.
She gets too hungry for dinner at 8. She likes the theater, never comes late. She'd never bother with people she'd hate. That's why the lady is a tramp.
But I'm a theater guy, and so I'm also interested in the shows for which these songs were originally written. Now, I've actually directed 3 Rodgers and Hart shows, and there's several more I'd like to tackle if I ever get the chance.
I need a drink.
Now, you might know Rodgers and Hart best as depicted in the recent movie Blue Moon, featuring Ethan Hawke as Lorenz Hart. This is a great movie for fans of musical theater, and it's a tour de force for Ethan Hawke.
Am I bitter, Larry? Yes.
It paints a portrait of Rodgers and Hart at the very specific time when they were parting ways.
Your work is brilliant. That's not the problem. No, I'm not drinking with you, Larry. They should put my picture on that bottle. The whiskey that made Lorenz Hart unemployable.
So, it's not comprehensive, and you don't learn much about their music or shows.
You saw me standing alone,
Wise guy.
without a dream in my heart.
The 1948 film Words and Music purports to be about Rodgers and Hart, but it's really just a great big lie. I mean, except for the fact that there was once a composer named Richard Rodgers who wrote songs, and a lyricist named Lorenz Hart. That is all the truth there is in that movie.
The great big city's a wondrous toy, just made for a girl and boy. We'll turn Manhattan into an isle of joy.
It really serves to get all of the great MGM musical talent into one movie and to give them all star turns with those great Rodgers and Hart songs. one inaccuracy of that movie that really bugs me is that Gene Kelly, who plays himself, is depicted as starring in the musical On Your Toes, which actually starred Ray Bolger. I mean, why not use Ray Bolger? And Gene Kelly actually starred in Pal Joey on Broadway. But they do nothing with that show, and yet they have Gene Kelly in the movie. I'm sure the case was that Gene Kelly just wanted to choreograph the ballet Slaughter on 10th Avenue from On Your Toes, and so he just took over. Anyway, words and music is great for the musical numbers, but don't think that it has anything to do with the reality of the lives of Rodgers and Hart. Speaking of Slaughter on 10th Avenue, one doesn't get to see On Your Toes produced that often, but the New York City Ballet keeps the ballet sequence in their repertory, reviving it every couple of years with the original set and costume designs because George Balanchine choreographed it originally. I've been to see it 3 times. My first directing foray into the world of Rodgers and Hart was the musical Jumbo. Jumbo hadn't been produced since the original Broadway production in 1935, and inspired by the studio recordings of the Gershwin musicals coming out of the 1990s, I thought reviving a dead musical theater gem would be a good graduate school project. Jumbo was on my mind because I had loved the 1962 movie version, and in one of my history books, there was this wild photograph of the original production with this gigantic clown, like 50-foot tall clown, dwarfing the elephant. So I was amazed that the thing was ever on stage. Now, the books for Rodgers and Hart musicals aren't the greatest. I mean, they're very jokey, and they usually have a love interest couple that's pretty two-dimensional at the center of it all. But they do hold together the songs, which are great. All of their shows have at least 3 or 4 hits that went on to become popular standards. But the fun of doing these shows is also discovering the lesser-known songs. Here from Jumbo, a song that hadn't been heard since 1935 until our production in 1997 is Song of the Razorbacks.
Oh, there ain't no job in Omaha, but that don't bother me. If there ain't no job in Omaha, there's a job in Ratchakee. So we're going, yes, we're going to the promised land of 3 square meals a day. Never knowing where we're going. Oh, we don't know where we're going, but we're on our way. Oh, there ain't no money to be made way down in Santa Fe, but they're eating orange marmalade in Harrisburg, PA. So we're going, yes, we're going to the promised land of 3 square meals a day. Never knowing where we're going. Oh, we don't know where we're going, but we're on our way. It's up in Portland, Oregon, young feller on the train. Pull away from Portland, Oregon, and take a ride to Maine. So we're going, yes, we're going to the promised land of 3 square meals a day. Never knowing where we're going. Oh, we don't know where we're going, but we're on our way. If there ain't no steak in Buffalo, I'm hanging out alone. If there ain't no steak in Buffalo, there's steak in Keokuk. So we're going, yes, we're going, boys, to the promised land of 3 square meals a day. Never knowing where we're going. Oh, we don't know where we're going. Come on, boys. But we're on our way. Oh, gals are neat in Abilene, from D.C. into Maine. But in Watertown, they all come down to meet you at the train. But in Watertown, they all come down to meet you at the train. Oh, we're going, going. Oh, we're
My experience with Jumbo was that I gained an appreciation for how smart the men who put Jumbo together were. Along with director George Abbott, they really did know what they were doing.
I was very young, the world was younger than I, and merry as a carousel. The circus was with every star in the sky.
As you go through the show, The score unfolds with an inevitable flow and a sense of variety that takes you on a journey.
The young world has grown old. Now are they tinsel and gold?
Sit there and count your fingers. What can you do? Old girl, you're through. Sit there and count your little fingers. Unlucky little girl blue.
The Sacramento Bee critic said that Jumbo wasn't a great show, but it was a great production. That was a compliment to our production in 1997, but it has a lot to do with the nature of 1930s musicals written by the great songwriters of that period. They weren't great scripts, but they could be great productions, largely thanks to the scores. My next Rodgers and Hart outing was Babes in Arms. That score is simply amazing. I mean, the score includes Where or When, Lady is a Tramp, My Funny Valentine, Johnny One Note, I Wish I Were in Love Again, and the rousing title song. I did that show with all kids playing the kids rather than young adults playing kids. It was a big challenge as there was so much choreography involved. But I had a great group of talent and we pulled it off.
1, 2, 3, 4, turn about. 1, 2, 3, 4, feet.
My next Rodgers and Hart show was Dearest Enemy from 1925.
1, 2, 3, 4, turn about. 1, 2, 3, 4, feet.
There had been a TV special of the show in the 1950s and a stage concert reading here and there.
Though I am far away, anything I am happy to do for the king, for the country and you.
But this production by the Village Light Opera of New York was the first full-scale production since the original, and it had restored orchestrations by Larry Moore.
Cheerio, little mother of mine, don't be weary over the sea and the homeland. Anything I'm happy to do for the king, for the country and you. Cheerio, I will hold you again, with your dreary old little head on my shoulder. Soon the wind will blow homeward home, so cheerio, cheerio. Soon the wind will blow homeward home, so cheerio, cheerio.
We had 50 people on stage and 28 in the pit, and it was all designed from scratch. Mary Rodgers and other family members of the creators came to see it, and it was included as a main event of the Richard Rodgers Centennial Celebration going on in 2002. The score of Dearest Enemy doesn't contain the kind of hit tunes that jazz interpreters latched onto. No Frank Sinatra or Doris Day recordings, but, again, it's a tuneful, clever, intentional score that serves its subject well. And for a show that came out in the middle of the 1920s, it is more coherent and intelligent than most of the frivolous entertainments that were on Broadway in those years. That show was the biggest thing I ever did, just in terms of numbers of people involved.
I'm wild again, beguiled again, a simpering, whimpering child again, bewitched, bothered, and bewildered am I.
Anytime I hear a Rodgers and Hart tune, I marvel at the beauty of the melodies and the wit of the lyrics, or sometimes they're heartbreaking or haunting.
With a song in my heart, I behold your adorable face.
In the future, I'd love to work on Pal Joey or On Your Toes. Both have superb scores and a fun premise.
They laugh at babes in arms, but we'll be laughing far more on city streets and farms. They'll hear a rising war cry. You will arrive, let them know you're alive, make it your cry.
Unfortunately, movie versions of Rodgers and Hart shows do not do the shows justice. I mean, a lot of the time they are cutting most of the score out of these things, and I don't understand that at all because the scores are the best parts of that property. So I don't know why, say, MGM would buy the score for Babes in Arms and then cut all but 2 of the songs out of it. Would there be something wrong with Judy Garland singing My Funny Valentine? I see nothing wrong with this.
Full-grown roses are sweeter, full-blown blossoms are neater. To hail a beauty when you meet her, a British soldier knows.
The only way you can get the full worth out of them is to see a production if you can, but they are rare.
What a sweet, she is sweeter, we're very glad to meet her and greet her on home.
However, we always have the many great recordings of their songs.
Hates California, 'cause it's so cold and so damp. That's why the lady, that's why the lady, that's why the lady is a tramp.
Thanks for watching.